People have gotten some surprisingly terrible injuries around gaming, some worse than others, and today we're gonna break them all down. Now, just keep in mind, some of these examples are extreme, and some of them are connected to other medical issues, so don't freak out, and also, most importantly, keep in mind, we are not doctors. We are not smart. Not all of this is definitive, and this is in no way a video for you to diagnose yourself. Don't do it. Anyway, with all that said, let's get started off with number 10 and talk about gamer's thumb. Yes, that's actually apparently a real thing, as funny as it sounds. It's actually a little serious. According to Modus Rehab, gamer's thumb is one nickname given to a condition called de Quervain's tenosynovitis. This is a condition in which the tendons that move your thumb become inflamed. Apparently, this is due to repetitive action or repetitive strain on your thumb tendons, which then leads to them becoming inflamed, and then you're in pain and you can't move your thumb much. And apparently, gaming is a common cause of this. This is thumb pain after playing video games, pain and swelling near the base of the thumb and wrist pain that gets worse with movement, or a catching or popping sensation when moving the thumb. Basically, like a lot of the things on this list, it probably comes down to if it starts hurting, stop doing it. You'll only make things worse, especially something like this, which gamer's thumb is also not just a condition that can be caused by gaming, but apparently by constant use of your smartphone as well. I always say we need to all spend a little less time on our phones, so maybe this is a good reason. Now, next at number 9, we have a condition that is absolutely believable. It's nicknamed mouse shoulder. Mouse shoulder is a term that has been used to describe a specific collection of neck and shoulder symptoms noticed in people who use computers for long periods. Mouse shoulder can present as a pain over one side of the neck spreading into the shoulder. This pain is often described as burning or deep aching and is associated with repeated or prolonged mouse use. Now, apparently this issue can take hold either very quickly after just a day of constant mouse use or months and months. It's pretty all over the place, and it depends on who you are and what kind of body you have. If you're a PC gamer, think about it. Your right hand, or maybe your left hand, think about how much that is constantly in use, how elevated your arm almost constantly is while you're playing a game. While yes, your hand is making very small microscopic movements to like aim and shoot or click or do whatever, your arm and your shoulder and even your neck is backing all of that up constantly. I'm not going to go so far as to say that this is something that I have had, but I am on my computer a lot and I am playing games on PC a lot, and my neck and my right shoulder do have a tendency to be sore sometimes. Now, what it seems like professionals recommend, other than going as far as to take like anti-inflammatory drugs, the other answer is more just adjusting your posture, maybe changing how you sit in your chair or how you rest your arm, or maybe rest your arm more comfortably on something as you're playing. It's all about your setup, of course, and everybody's situation is different, but paying attention and taking a little bit of time to improve your comfort level for something that you're going to spend hours and hours and hours doing is absolutely valuable. And you're probably going to see that for a lot of the issues on this list, that's going to be the case. Just take care of yourself and pay attention to your posture and your movements. Because moving on over to number 8, we have carpal tunnel syndrome. This is the real one. This is probably one of the ones you hear the most about. According to esportshealthcare.com, carpal tunnel syndrome is an impingement or irritation of the median nerve within the carpal tunnel at the base of your hand. When the median nerve becomes irritated in this region due to pressure, inflammation, and or stretching, symptoms will occur. Carpal tunnel syndrome is most prevalent in people who spend a lot of time using a PC. So if you're a PC gamer, you are more likely to experience this ailment. Carpal tunnel issues can arise because of prolonged extension of your wrist and your arm holding the mouse. Interestingly enough, Esports Healthcare does point out that if you're a console gamer, you can still have this issue. It's not just a mouse thing. They said that it's certainly less common, but you're not invincible from it, because at the end of the day, you're still constantly using your hands and straining your wrists, just in different ways. We don't have time to dive into it in this video, but carpal tunnel is extremely complex and is often misdiagnosed. But on the flip side, it's still something that many people struggle with daily, and there's a variety of ways to take care of it. Now, next over at number 7, you may have remembered that news story from 2018 where a gamer was paralyzed from the waist down following a non-stop 20-hour internet cafe play session. This was a dude in China who had played an insane amount of video games in an internet cafe, and then reportedly after a 20-hour play session, paramedics were called, and as they were bringing him to the hospital, he turned back and asked his friends to keep playing his unfinished game. Personally, us here, we think that's actually sad. That's nothing to make fun of. It seems like that's a pretty serious addiction problem, and it's a bummer. But apparently the guy had gotten up to go to the bathroom and realized that he had no sensation in his legs. Now, a connection can be made to the medical issue deep vein thrombosis. This is a type of clot formation in the deeper veins in your lower legs that can result from lack of movement or prolonged sessions in a chair where less blood flow is flowing to your lower legs. Apparently this is serious stuff, so if that guy in China really had this, thank God I guess he did get the medical attention he needed. Now moving on over to number 6, we have trigger finger. This actually sounds cool, maybe like a cool metal band, but it is very much not cool at all. Stenosing if I'm even pronouncing that right, is a condition where a thumb or finger locks up when it is bent or straightened. This can be caused by repetitive movement of the fingers. Symptoms are a pain in your fingers or your fingers straight up locking up. So if you spend a lot of time with a controller or a mouse in your hand, there is a chance that this could kick in. But it's not just something that can happen from gaming. You know, if you play an instrument, apparently you're also at risk. Basically, if you take part in any daily activity where you frequently move your fingers in the same few positions, you can potentially be at risk. It actually messes with the tendons in your fingers. Apparently they have a sheath that slide in and out of, and trigger finger will cause that sheath to narrow and the outer covering of the tendon swells up. So now it's harder for the tendon to slide in and out of that sheath. And that sucks a lot. I mean, you literally can't play games if your fingers are locked up, you know, or do a lot of things. Take a 10-minute break from gaming every hour will at least help you prevent this from kicking in, so maybe start doing that now. That's a good habit for honestly a variety of issues, and there's a reason that Nintendo games tell you to take a break often. Now next up at number 5, we have tennis elbow, or lateral epicondylitis. According to Athletico.com, this is microdamage of the tendon that extends your wrist and fingers called the common extensor tendon. The damage originates from a part of the bone called the lateral epicondyle, most likely through overuse. Symptoms include apparently pain along the lateral elbow and forearm, which may radiate up and down the arm. But it is something that not just traditional athletes suffer from, but believe it or not, some competitive gamers have gone on record having tennis elbow issues. Apparently this can be treated in a variety of ways like massaging, ice, cortisone, or just rest. And to prevent this in the long term, of course, just taking breaks in games, adjusting your posture and behaviors and ergonomics, of course, all can go a really long way. Now next up at number 4, this is an issue that I'm sure most of us are kind of familiar with, at least to some degree, and that is inadequate sleep. Yeah, I'm sure we've all pushed the bedtime back a few hours to finish a quest line or play a few more rounds of your favorite multiplayer game. Now, a study done in 2016 found that on average, gamers put off bedtime 36% of the nights they play games, which was an average of 4.6 nights a week, and the average bedtime delay was 101 minutes. According to the study, the reasoning behind not going to bed to play games was because of how addictive games can be, and this is coming right from the gamers' mouths themselves. And I mean, same. Honestly, I've been known to go to bed a few hours later than usual. We all know what getting inadequate sleep does. We've all been there. You know, you get the whole day feeling sluggish, little to no motivation to do anything or even move for that matter. It sucks. It could really mess up your whole day. So start going to bed and getting better habits. Like I said earlier, that's a recurring theme in this video. Take care of yourself. Now down to number 3, we have tension headaches. Now according to the Mayo Clinic, multiple factors can bring on a tension headache, including stress, inadequate sleep, and poor posture. Hey, all of those things are like the gamer's holy trinity, so essentially a lot of players are acting like a perfect storm for being subject to tension headaches. It's often described as mild to moderate pain in your head that almost feels like you have a tight band wrapped around your head, and this is apparently one of the more common headaches. That being said, according to the Mayo Clinic, all of its causes aren't completely well understood, but reducing your stress, taking a break, using ice or heat, and just adapting good posture can help you out. Now, of course, this is a broad one, and it seems like you can get tension headaches just from 1, living your life, 2, having some sort of difficult job, or 3, just stressing out from school, or 4, playing video games, or 5, insert anything here. Life is tough sometimes, and life is going to give you headaches, but it's important to take those seriously too. Now down to number 2, of course we've talked about sitting. Let's talk about poor gaming posture and posture injuries or issues that you are at risk for. Esportshealthcare.com claims that poor posture and prolonged sitting increase the risk for early degeneration or arthritis of the spine, shoulders, and hips, disc placement issues, nerve impingement syndromes like carpal tunnel syndrome we talked about earlier, and postural syndrome. Among many other things, seated postures can create forces greater than 150% of body weight on the spine, spine, increased pressure on discs and bones. Prolonged seated postures can also have problems with your musculature. And basically, it's 2020. A lot of people have acknowledged the fact that sitting at a desk all day, either for work or video games, is in the long term not good for you. Again, to sound like a broken record, it's all about paying attention and taking care of yourself. Now down to number 1, you may have remembered a story from 2017 where someone addicted to a smartphone game went blind in one eye after an insane 24-hour play session. According to news sources, this was a 21-year-old woman in China who had been addicted to a mobile game for a while, but finally pushed it to a full 24-hour play session with her eyes just staring at a screen. And suddenly, she lost vision in her right eye. She was taken to the hospital and diagnosed with retinal artery occlusion. Retinal artery occlusion, or RAO, is a condition usually found in the elderly, but apparently, according to the Chinese doctors, this was caused by eye strain from looking at the screen for way too long without a break. Can this happen to everyone? Are your eyes going to suddenly stop working? I don't know. Probably not. Of course, there are extreme cases here, but I think this story is a good example to just talk about eye strain in general and how many people suffer from it from work and gaming and how you should take care of it. There are, of course, all types of suggestions to prevent eye strain and headaches and long-term damage by, of course, taking breaks. Many doctors have suggested looking away to a distant object for a while and just changing your focus. Of course, also, the lights in the room around you are important, as well as the screen itself. How bright is it? Is it destroying your eyes? Do you have any blue light filters? Maybe you get one of those fancy gaming or computer glasses to shield your eyes from some of those harmful brightnesses. Me personally, one of my biggest problems is that I often forget to blink. I know that sounds kind of ridiculous, but you don't really realize until you think about it. While you're playing a game or staring at a screen, you're blinking way less, especially during challenging moments. So take a moment and be sure to blink regularly because that can keep your eye flushed and healthy. So there we have it. There are some extreme cases on this list of terrible things we wouldn't wish on anybody, but there are a lot of things that can be prevented by proper self-care. We hope you're not scared. It's still fun to play video games, right? Either way, we'd love to hear from you in the comments just what you think about this stuff. If you have any expertise or just experience with any of these issues, we'd love to hear from you. And if you learned anything or just enjoyed this video, clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. And if you're new, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because we put out videos every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.